Good evening and welcome back to the podcast. It's an absolute pleasure to have you listening. Joining me today, as usual, Ritavile, and the return of Shawnee on the show as we chat about Manchester United and the fixture, which is a bit of a weird one, I'm not going to lie. And I hope that you enjoy being on the show, and being a fly on the wall as we look ahead to this derby game. It's an eagerly awaited fixture for some, and for others, it's just another laborious fixture on the Manchester United calendar and an opportunity to rest players. So we'll be diving deep into that. Please do make sure you do hit the like button. I hope you're doing well. Hope you had a great day. And without any further ado, let's get into it. So which side are you guys on? Are you excited to see Rooney coming back, or do you not really care?
No, I'm excited. I'm excited to see Wayne Rooney back. For me, he's one of the all-time legends at United, and is personally one of my favorite strikers of all time as well.
Interesting.
I won't lie, I'm not overruled about it, but it'd be nice to see him. He's a legend. He's done a lot for us, and yeah, it'd be nice to see our very own knockout champion.
Look, I'd answer my own question, but I don't want people cringing so early in the show, so we'll just leave that elephant in the room untouched. The teams in terms of last 8 games, Derby, I think in the last 8 have won 4, 2 draws, and lost 1. You can correct me if I'm wrong, but I'm not 100% sure. What I am 100% sure of is that Manchester United haven't lost a game in 8, which is surprising. We've had 3 draws and 5 wins, which is actually not that bad in context. Just briefly, Shawnee, what did you think of the Everton results since you weren't here?
That was the pivotal game for me. Like I said before, I said, if we found a way to win that game, then I would have been like, okay, I would have been really surprised. Like I said, at any other day, the draw is probably a right result. But on that day, I was a bit disappointed. I really expected us to go out and win it and, not bottle that top 4 run. It's not bottled yet. Anything can happen still. But it just seems like every time that door's open, we don't want it.
Yeah, I just have to be fair to United and say United didn't bottle it. De Gea did. Let's just be honest. You can make the argument all you want that United should have perhaps scored more goals, but you can't do anything about the keeper at the other end being just as good as your keeper, and you can't do anything about mistakes. They're going to happen. So I just feel with the Everton result, looking back on the preview, a draw probably is a bad result in the context of the top 4. But it is what it is, and if we had sat here and we were 2-0 up and then Everton came back from 2-0 down to draw, I would have been like, that's a horrible result. But we didn't. De Gea made a mistake. He made a mistake.
But I don't know how bad of a result it actually is. Moving away from how we played, which I really went on a rant about, Everton's a hard game, especially away from home. So the fact that we got a point, I'm happy, to be honest.
Look, it's a bad result because we're facing City next week. It's a bad result because in context of this season, even though we probably will get another chance at top 4 because it's happened 8 times now, it might not happen again. We needed to win that result. Between Everton and City, Everton's the game we needed to win. City is where we can go, okay, I'll take a draw. Against Everton, we should have won. And I can fully agree with that. My problem is people are making it seem like every draw is the same in football when it's not. Sometimes you draw because you get unfortunate, genuinely unfortunate, genuinely unfortunate. Sometimes it has nothing to do with individual brilliance or skill. Someone genuinely made a mistake on the pitch and the other team got lucky, and then you just couldn't come back into the game. And I think that's what hurts the most about this result. If Everton had scored a goal from open play, they didn't even do it at Old Trafford. It was a mistake from De Gea, then it bounced off Lindelof. That's what ruined that draw as well. So for me, I just feel like there's a lot of salt in my mouth after that result because it's such a low blow, of all the ways to draw to Everton twice in a season, it's happened because of De Gea, both times at Old Trafford and at Goodison Park. How is that possible? The statistical probability of one player influencing both results and getting the same outcome, I don't know. It's just one of those things you just look at, man, and you can't. It's bizarre. But it's bizarre.
De Gea is still a goalkeeper. I'm not jumping on this Dean Henderson wagon. I think it's bullshit.
I'm not going to jump on the Dean Henderson wagon, but we've had 8 opportunities to get into the top 4. And you can argue that some of those opportunities were down to poor play, poor football, crap tactics, whatever you want to argue. But when I look at games like the Everton game, both games, the one game at Old Trafford, in the second half, we didn't really play that well. We didn't create any chances. And although our defending was good, it was a dead game because Everton weren't really trying to get anything out of it. The second game, we played extremely well in the first half, but then couldn't follow it up in the second half because Everton also wanted to play. They actually played better football at Goodison Park than they did at Old Trafford. So I can understand why there was so much pressure on us. And it was disappointing to see Ole Gunnar Solskjaer go defensive in the dying embers of the game because I think he brought on Brendan Williams or something. Like that was disappointing. But for the most part, the game at Goodison Park was much better than Old Trafford.
Much.
But it's in both games that one player cost us. And sometimes, I can understand it, I can understand it because, we're not pundits. We don't get paid in a studio to say certain things. We're football fans and we're going to be emotional. And when the most statistically improbable result occurs because of the most statistically improbable set of events, I think it's frustrating. Twice in a season, the same guy. Like if it was an outfield player, I would have been like, yeah, sure, he's just unlucky. But it's De Gea. It's David freaking De Gea, the guy who's won threes. Like, if there's anyone in that team who shouldn't be making two mistakes that cost us top four on both occasions against the same team in two separate venues, it just makes me scratch my head, And then he goes on and makes a world-class save the very next ball, and you're wondering, like, why couldn't you just, stay composed the shot before?
It's very strange. There's not like something he struggles with. We can maybe say his hand
bro.
is not the best, but like that just came out of the blue. It's not something you'd expect De Gea to do.
Yeah, like, again, he's human. He's going to make mistakes, so you can't expect his distribution to be... It happens. Like, there was that keeper in the Bundesliga who, funny enough, looked like Pickford. You remember that meme that went viral of the Bundesliga keeper missing the ball completely and then it rolled into the net? Because someone back passed it and he tried to kick it out, but he missed the ball completely.
Yeah.
Like, that's a big yikes. And I thought it was Pickford when I first saw the clip. But anyways, man, we're not here to talk about Everton. I just think it's such a... I just think sometimes, and I know I'm going to sound like a hypocrite because I've always said the history books will say 1-1 and not De Gea made a mistake, but sometimes you can quite clearly see why a result went the way it did, and it irks me that these guys got a point against us both times without scoring a proper goal in open play. Like, that's gutting, but, that's football, right? That's football. The diamond formation. Let's address the other elephant in the room. Would you like to see that played in this kind of a game? Because, first of all, actually two questions. Would you like to see the diamond formation or experimentation in this type of a game? And secondly, where are you with the FA Cup? Does it really matter anymore?
Well, in terms of experimenting with the formation, I always did say that I would like him to do it. My experimentation is obviously the 4-3-3 attacking, which I doubt he'll do. And I think, if he wants to, if Ollie wants to experiment with new formations, I wouldn't really suggest it in this round or at this stage of the season now because it is getting late. Players are confused. He played 5 at the back. He confused the players. Then he played the 4-2-3-1, which he normally does. We played 3 formations now, so we don't want to confuse the players too much. So I don't know when he wants to experiment, but I personally, I wouldn't feel this is the time. Like, but I don't want to sound like a hypocrite, but the only experimentation I would give my thumbs up to is if he does the 4-3-3 attacking, the one that got him the first 3 months. We were just like, express yourself and things like that. But obviously, that's that I'm not going to talk too much about that. That's how I feel. People know how I feel about that. But yeah, in terms of the diamond formation, also, I don't want to see it again. I think there was the strikers that we had, Martial and Greenwood, were just left for dead as well. I think Fred didn't benefit from it, and I think a few other players also didn't benefit from that diamond formation. I don't know if it's because he wants Pogba back and he wants to put him in that system, but I don't think it's right. And even if he does do it for Pogba, who says he's going to be here till after the window?
That's an interesting take because I think it actually worked well in the first half. I've never seen United play football like that in a very long time, especially after conceding a goal. Yeah. But, I really don't know what game people were watching. I don't know if people are looking at the second half and being biased, or if they were actually watching the first half. I'm genuinely confused.
Yeah,
I
like,
don't mean to come across as arrogant, but like
yeah,
I'm genuinely dumbfounded.
I was
What
also
game
shocked.
were you guys watching?
And he just bashed, and I just didn't understand. Honestly, I didn't. Look, I don't want to end this game because I don't think we need it.
Yeah.
I think we'll play a 4-2-3-1, and it's Derby County. I mean, really, and we'll just blow them out of the park. But going forward, I prefer this to be our backup because I think it worked pretty well. I think Martial was okay in it. I think he seemed comfortable. He didn't score. but he
Martial
seemed
was actually very strong on the left. Yeah, he whipped in across to Greenwood,
Yeah.
and Mason should have put that on target. So
I think Matic was brilliant in it. He was outstanding. And I really liked the extra midfielder. I went on about this in the reaction, the Everton reaction. I really liked extra midfielder because away from home, we always lose the midfield battle. And I did not see that happening against Everton. But I feel like people are ignoring that because of what the result was, which I feel like it's a bit unfortunate. So going forward, I do want to see this maybe as a backup formation, especially away from home.
Yeah, but I would
Does
say
it-
about the diamond formation. Sorry to cut you off. Like
Yeah.
if the diamond formation was our backup plan instead of the 5 at the back or 3 at the back, however you want to see it, I would have
Yeah,
preferred it. It's just I think at this stage of the season, ish, you know, we still got top 4 in the league. You know, we're still in the FA Cup. We're still in Europa League. Is this really the time we want to experiment?
yeah, I've always said I'm against experimentation.
As you said.
But yeah, you can go first.
No, I said it's much better than the 5.
Oh. Look, I'm not going to debate whether it's better than the 5 or not because it's only one game at Goodison Park against an Everton side that's struggling this season. So, like, I've never been one to flip-flop and say this formation's better than that formation because it worked in one game. Like, there's so many variables and there's so many factors to why you can play well. I mean, obviously, when you play a new formation that a team is not expecting, there's a high chance it could work because they haven't seen you play it before and they're not sure how to deal with it. I think McTominay was very disruptive in that game. I think Fred was struggling a bit, but it wasn't bad. I think Matic was perfect, and he gave Everton a lot of problems. And then on top of that, I think Mason Greenwood and Martial drifting wide opened a huge hole down the middle. I mean, that's how Bruno got his goal to begin with anyways. So I think the diamond worked for the first half, but look at the diamond in the second half. Like, it was atrocious in the second half. It was a bit of a stinker, and I just feel like it's too soon to be saying, oh, this formation works better than that formation, or this formation works better than that formation. And look, I've always said I don't agree with experimentation this late on in the season, and I'm never going to change that. I don't agree with experimentation. Yeah, it might work, but it's very rare that you change formations at the end of your season and it works. What I will say, though, is because it's happened, you know, I'm going to talk about it. I'm not going to be that guy who says, well, you know where I stand, so I don't want to give my 2 cents in the conversation. Otherwise, there'll be no point in the show. So I will say that if we are going to play the diamond going forward, I agree with the extra midfielder premise that it did help, because if you look at if you look at Everton against us at Old Trafford, we barely created any chances last time we played them. Barely. And I know Bruno's in our team now, and Bruno's made a huge difference, but there's players in that team who had good games that had a nothing game against Everton back at Old Trafford. Like, I can't remember us creating any clear-cut chances at Old Trafford besides the goal.
Yeah.
And in this game, I can give you 6 clear-cut chances in the first half alone. So, you know.
And like, you know, the reason why
That says
also
a lot.
diamond didn't really work in the second half is because, you know, Ancelotti's still a freaking good manager. So he knows if you're playing a diamond and you're restricting his team to do certain things, he'll change it. And, you know, and he's got the experience and the knowledge on what to do if this comes. And it worked.
Definitely. I do feel like in the second half, for some odd reason, we decided to play on the counter, which didn't help at all. Because we started sinking and Everton had more of the ball.
I think what actually happened is what always happens at United. I think they just dropped off in the second half like they always do and they've done all season long. But then on top of that, I think Everton just came out guns blazing and we had to play on the counter because we didn't have the ball. Like, I don't think Ole Gunnar Solskjaer said, guys, we had such a great first half. Let's give them the ball and try them on the break. I don't think that's what he actually said in the team talk. And I could be wrong, obviously. But I don't think Ole Gunnar Solskjaer is that shallow. I think what happened is Manchester United let their foot off the gas because there was no gas left in the tank, as usual with this team. And I've never seen them play with such a high tempo in the first half. So I was worried, and I should have said this in the podcast, you know, last time. I was worried watching that first half because I was like, can they keep this up for 90 minutes? Mark Goldbridge said the same thing on the watch along. Can they keep it up for 90 minutes? And in my head, I was like, nope, not this team. They've never done it all season. So I think Everton playing well in that half was more because we let off than us playing on the counter. Because even in the first half, Everton did have a fair amount of the ball. In that first 12 minutes, they dominated. Were we playing counter-attacking football then? Probably not. We just couldn't get the ball, in my opinion. But you know, it's just one of them things. You never know. You never know. Ancelotti is a good coach, so you know, I'll give him that. But Spurs, City, Arsenal, Liverpool, or Chelsea, depending on who wins there, those are teams we could still face in this competition. You know,
Yep.
I feel confident about Spurs and Arsenal, but I don't know about City or Liverpool / Chelsea. What do you guys think of beating those teams?
That's the thing, like, you know, would you?
I mean, sorry to cut you off, but City at the Etihad, you know, I back us. But yeah, go on.
Yeah, same. Like, you know, if we played Chelsea at Stamford Bridge, back us. But yeah, anyways, I was gonna say, like, you know, it's interesting. Like, you look at this FA Cup game now. Do you experiment, run the risk of either going through, which is a positive anyways, with your experiments, or do you experiment, get knocked out, and then you don't really bash it too much because you experimented, and now we can focus more on the league and Europa League, and
Look,
you know, because there is still tough teams here.
I'm not too worried about.
Personally, I don't want to get knocked out. I'm just saying, I don't want to get knocked out of there.
I don't want to get knocked out either, right? But I'm always going to look at the bigger picture. You know, here's what I don't want to happen. I don't want Bruno Fernandes to get injured against Derby. So if you're asking me for my honest opinion, don't experiment. Keep the system the same, but rest some players. Please, for God's sake, rest some players. Because the last thing we need is to be playing our strongest team against Derby and then resting players in another key top 4 game against Manchester City. Like, we're playing not Monday, sorry. Sunday, Thursday, Sunday, Thursday, Sunday, Thursday for God knows how long. As long as we stay in the Europa League, we'll be playing Sunday, Thursday for the next 2 months. And that is going to hinder our progress towards any tournament massively if we don't rest players. And if there's any game where we can rest players, it's got to be against Derby. Like, if we can't rest players against Derby, then we're screwed in terms of depth. So if you're asking me, don't experiment, but rest players.
Yeah. Like, I don't think it would make sense if he didn't. I mean, he rested players in the Europa League. You can't then come and play the first team in the FA Cup. So I think rest players, but maybe play the 4-2-3-1 because we'll be most comfortable in that. And to be honest, I'm not really obsessed with the FA Cup. Like, it would be nice to win a trophy, but like, what does it really do for us? It doesn't get us Champions League football. I'd rather put all our marbles in the Premier League and the Europa League, to be honest.
Well, I think, you know, a lot of people will look at it like that and they'll disrespect the FA Cup, and you know, it's an arrogance of big clubs, isn't it? But there's nothing negative about winning a trophy. There's literally nothing negative about winning a trophy. And I just think for the players, it's a massive confidence booster. For the manager, it's a massive confidence booster because there's managers in the world who are rated very highly but have never won a domestic trophy. And for the fans, it's just nice to see players lift a trophy. Like, that's what we're here for. We want to see Manchester United win. So, of course, on scale of importance, making it into the Champions League is far more important than lifting Arsenal's favorite trophy. I get it, you know, but I still want to win it. Not as much as the Europa League, but I still want to win it. You know.
Same here. I'd also like to win it, but I just think we should not play our first team in this tournament under no circumstances. We should not be risking the fitness of players for this tournament.
Not the full first team, anyways. Like,
not
the last thing I want to see is Diamond with Jesse Lingard. That's catastrophe.
Because I think Oli will rest certain players, but I think he's still going to go really strong.
I don't mind a blended squad. Like, rest a few players. That's all I'm asking. I don't mind a blended squad. I don't think you should ever rest. I don't think it's practical to rest your entire first team. Like, this is not FIFA. You can't just, you know, take Bruno out for Jesse and then take Fred out for Pereira and then take McTominay out for Gomez and then take Matic out for someone else who hasn't played in a couple of months and expect to win the game. It's not FIFA. You have to keep some level of consistency. That's the whole point of having blended teams. You keep a few players in there. Maguire will probably stay in because he's Maguire. But take Lindelof out, play Bailey or someone else. Take either Fred or McTominay out. One of them has to not play. You can keep Matic in as long as you bring him off at half time or consider that. and then you can either keep Bruno on or take Bruno off and keep Fred on / McTominay. Like you have to have a blended team, in my opinion.
Yeah.
It's I don't see him. He's obviously not going to rest the whole team because who's he going to bring on? Like I don't want to see Lingard and Pereira in the same team ever again from the start of this whole. Never,
Same.
you know. So that's my take on it. Predicted SI? Interesting, you know, but with the way things have gone in the last week, I don't know what to say anymore. You never know with Oli.
Yeah.
You might just play a back seven, you know, against Derby. Thoughts on it?
I don't think we'll see this, to be honest.
I don't think so either, because I think we could see Gala involved. I think we could see two strikers playing again.
Yeah.
Somehow, whether it's in a back five or a diamond.
I think we'll see.
But yeah, I don't know. Mata instead of Greenwood, probably, because Greenwood had a stinker against Everton. Well, not really a stinker, actually. He was involved, but it wasn't his best game. James didn't play against Everton, did he?
No,
Yeah.
he never. He had a slight knock,
you
but Oli
probably-
said that he should be available for this game.
Yeah, we'll probably see him for this game. Then I suppose.
Yeah, I think Bayo will also play instead of Lindelof because, you know, this would be a good game for his fitness and things. So
I
think
see
we'll
Williams.
play that.
playing.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
see Williams playing as well to give sure
Yeah.
rest. Obviously, Romero is our cup guy, so
Yeah.
you'll get him.
Look-
there. I think I think Matic needs the rest. That's why I didn't put him in this team.
Yeah.
I agree. I would say before Tranmere, I would say this is probably likely. But, you know, after playing a back five against Tranmere, you just never know with Ole Gunnar Solskjaer.
Yeah.
We might just play back five and win 4-0. Who knows?
Yeah, I think he might play Martial because he seems to always play him, even in these games. I think we'll see James. I don't think we'll see Fernandes from the start. I think maybe Mata. I think we might see Jesse as well, sadly. I think we'll see McTominay and Fred. Bailly, yes. Maybe Dello, I don't know. But I think he will try to rotate as much as he can.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah,
Why is
that
that?
was a good one.
Lingard's a prospect, dude. Lingard's young. He's talented.
That was good. I even forgot Dallo played for us. Completely.
Yeah, but let's talk about Lingard. He's young. You know, he's a youth prospect. He's got a lot in him. He's got a future. Like, he's got a future in the Premier League, and I think Lingard is massively underrated. You know, I think he's had a great season. Great season.
You know what?
Imagine.
It's like I don't even have energy to comment on the city.
Not even Ricky talks about Lingard positively. I think Ricky's the only person who could get away with gassing up Lingard, and even that would be a little bit extreme, because Ricky gets away with everything. Did you hear what he? Oh yeah, I didn't hear what he said in his last fan camp. By the way, if you lost, Ricky's a guy on the United stand. He's an old guy. He's a match-going fan. He loves lubing up Matic. He loves Matic to death, almost like they're married or something.
I call him the grandfather of our great club of United.
He is, and you can't get mad at him. You know, I would do impressions, but for the sake of keeping the show relatable, I won't. So yeah, I've really got nothing more to say about this team. You know, I think all has been said on this channel since we started it about what formations we should see, what teams should play. I'm not really too bothered about who doesn't start and who starts in this game. You know, I really couldn't be bothered as long as we don't get battered.
To be honest, these guys aren't a threat. I think the hype is all about Rooney. They had a good season last with Frank Lampard and got to the final of the playoffs, but this season has been quite average. I think they're mid-table, and if we just play our cards right, they shouldn't really threaten us.
Yeah, Baba. When Rooney scores a hat trick, I'll remember this.
Oh my god! Like what? What is this fetish with former players coming against the club and being scared? You know, I remember was it Fenerbahce or Feyenoord when Van Persie came back to Old Trafford and everyone was so scared.
It happens a lot, though.
Watch out, Van Persie's going to score a hat trick because
happens a
he's
lot.
apparently still good enough to carry a team,
They score
even though he's
against
got grey hairs.
team.
Like, come on. You know, like if we lose to Derby under any circumstance, it's an upset. It's an upset under no circumstances, unless we start Fred, Pereira, and a player who hasn't played in the last few months. We don't play Maguire, we don't play Lindelof, we play Jones instead. next to Bailey, and Bailey gets sent off in the first minute. And then we play freaking what's that guy's name? Our third choice keeper, Grant.
Hey.
Grant.
Something Grant, Lee Grant, I think.
Yeah.
And then we don't play Aaron Wan-Bissaka or Delo. We experiment with someone in right back, and then we don't play either Williams or Shaw. We play Gomez there, unless we play that starting 11, and I didn't even talk about the front three. We should not be losing this game.
Yeah.
Honestly.
No, we shouldn't. Yeah, we shouldn't.
And they beat us last year, knocked us out of the Cabo Cup, so I hope we smash them.
Yeah, it happens. It happens. But under all circumstances, I think it's an upset, man. So, yeah. Your predictions? Score predictions?
You know, I think I don't want to say I want to see the lineup first, obviously, but like, you know, if we see this lineup, I think it'll be very comfortable. If it does experiment like with Tamata or maybe even a Chong or Gomez or something like that,
Yeah.
I think, you know, to be safe, to put in a prediction, I'm going to say 2-0 United.
That's
Actually, no,
okay.
3-1 United, because, you know, my boy Williams is going to score.
Yeah, I think in one of those games, we're going to play one of our lesser players. We're going to struggle in the first half. Maybe they'll even score, Derby. We'll panic, but then we'll bring on our other players, we'll turn it on, and somehow we'll rescue the game. And I'm going to say 2-1 United.
To be honest, I think we'll just run them over in the first half. And then and it's going to be, look, here's what I think will happen. We're going to have the most amazing first half. We're going to see good attacking, fluid, passionate, the United way football. And then in the second half, we're going to see the most boring game of our careers ever. Because United's just going to take their foot on the pedal.
If Per and Jesse start, oh my gosh.
Yeah, you know, like I said, you know, there's some, I don't even know what the right word is really, but there's a certain set of circumstances that must not happen in context of our starting 11 for us to have a comfortable game. And Jesse and Pereira playing together without Bruno to help them is a disaster. You know, it's just, we might as well just skip the Derby game and not watch it and just go on vacation. But look, all banter aside, we should beat this team, I think. And when I say run them over in the first half, we might not score, but I think we'll play really good football in the first half. Bar the first 10 minutes, because you know how United are, regardless of who we play against. The first 5 minutes will be slow, as usual. We'll see a mistake or two, and then a good save from De Gea, and then the game will settle. And then there'll be chances, and then we'll get to halftime, and we'll say, wow, that was a good first half. Now we just need to close it out. And then if we haven't scored in the first half, it's obviously going to be a ball fest. But if we have scored in the... Wait, actually, no, that makes no sense. If we didn't score in the first half, then it will be an interesting second half, is what I meant to say. And if we do score in the first half, then this game is done, I think. Unless Derby pull off some miracle. But, you know, could be wrong, because it's
Hey, you
United.
never know. You know, you see
Never
teams in
know.
the bottom three smashing the European champions, so hey, never know what could happen.
Yeah.
Fun fact, Tranmere scored more goals against Watford than Liverpool did. Oh my god. Liverpool fans, I'm sorry. But yeah. Right, gentlemen, I think that about wraps it up. I don't think there's anything else to talk about.
We'll see you match day.
Yeah, we'll see you match day. And, you know, to all my Liverpool fans out there, you know.
Eat the
I don't even know.
Eat it.
Yeah, actually, eat
He's
it.
gonna win the league, so what can we say?
We can say, oh, well, you know, actually, that's true. But they lost 3-0 to Watford. That's what we can say.
Yeah, we beat one. So.
The only negative about that result is Arsenal fans and the official Arsenal Twitter account is celebrating a trophy that they won 14.
Depends so much.
Imagine your official Twitter account actually celebrating a win from 14 years ago. Like, my God. Competitive football team, by the way, aspiring to win stuff, by the way. But anyways, do leave a like on the video. It was a short show today. Hope you enjoy the rest of your week. Looking forward to the game, and peace out. Thanks for listening.